Hey, Nick.
Hey, Chase.
It's that time again.
What time is it?
Time for
Fuck This Place!
I didn't know the specifics. I knew that I read somewhere in the news, in the media, that you hurt your leg, but I didn't know the full extent.
Yeah, I was playing basketball with Chris and his brothers, and I fucking just was running. Then I heard a pop, and I wasn't running anymore.
Yeah,
and
that's why I completely abandoned playing sports anymore. I'm just too old.
Yeah, I'm like, I would love to go back and be like, I'm going to play again. As soon as I'm better, I'm going back to playing. But I'm like, maybe not. I don't know.
See, I know. Here's the thing. I know a bunch of people. Like the numbers keep piling up of people that I know that have been injured in the last like month or so. And I think it is age. You're in the 30s. You're not fucking 12 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Your body's not just constantly regenerating like 1,000 cells a minute. But I think part of it's also we've been in such low motion since March. Like, you've been working out or whatever the fuck you've been doing. That is nothing compared to the amount of like small movements your body has been doing in a pre-pandemic state where you just like I used to walk to the grocery store, or whatever. And I just like, I don't do, I would guess that our movement that is unintentional, but still like accumulative has been reduced by at least 80 to 90%. Right.
Yeah.
So like all those tiny little muscles that you were never paying, you're never paying those muscles to do shit. Right?
Yeah.
Because you weren't, you do a push up or whatever the fuck you want. But like, that's not like contributing to all those tiny little like annoying things when you're like just like tired and like I'm so tired of walking today, and it's like those are the muscles that you're really working. And I just think that a lot, like I have a friend who just fucked his fucking heel from trying to skateboard again. And I have a knee thing that I'm just like I have to stop doing all the things I was doing. And I think it is because we were just doing, even if you have a like a quote unquote routine, that's nothing compared to like the full movement diet, so to speak, that we were on.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's also me and Chris, the guy I was playing ball with, we were talking about how, just to the same effect, about how I hadn't moved like that in so long, but also the NFL had like crazy high number of injuries, all knee related injuries and stuff in like the first couple of weeks. And we were saying it's like, yeah, probably because they had no preseason this year. They just went right into going as hard as they used to go. Correct. And just started dropping like flies.
Yeah, it's a way better way of saying the 5-minute thing I just said. And that's how the podcast goes. I should introduce us. Welcome to Fuck This Place, the podcast about jobs with Chase and Nick. My name is Chase.
My name is Nick, and with us today is our guest is one of my oldest friends now, like oldest friendships in forever. He's a podcaster himself. He's got a podcast called Bad Reception that he does with also Fuck This Place alumni.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. He has his own production studios called Darkhour. Filmmaker, occasional actor, fantastic writer, my friend Mike Streeter.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm so glad that you credited me as an actor.
I've seen you act.
I did win Best Actor in 2001 at Bear Creek High School, so it's, I do like to have that be my crowning accomplishment. And then I retired, and then it was just like
hung your jersey up on the side of the auditorium.
Oh man, I forgot I was at that award ceremony 2001. I was there for that. I remember that.
It was a big night. It was a big night for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody. It was a big night for me too.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
What's going on, Mike? How have you been?
Good. I mean, unlike most people, I've been working through the pandemic. So my life, I mean, lots of my life has changed, but for the most part, I'm still going to work. I'm still doing the same shit. So
you're going to work physically.
Yeah. I work in the entertainment industry, which is an essential industry. So
yeah, so I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why we haven't stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, I was working from home for a couple of months, but as of a couple of months, like I think 2 or 3 months ago, I started going back into the office because, TV shows are back in production. It's
right.
full stop.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, we should start our first segment here. Our first segment we'd like to play on every podcast is a segment we like to call "Fuck This Place?" where we decide if we would work somewhere or not. And so we have looked up some Craigslist from the Lodi, Stockton area, which is where you originally hail.
Correct.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to read 3 job titles, and then you're going to pick the one you do not want to look at, and we will look at the other 2.
Okay, sounds good.
So first job title, number 1 is ranch handyman. Number 2, voice teacher. This is the 2 sides of the spectrum there. And then the last one is I need housekeeper who isn't afraid of pest.
Oh, boy.
So which one do you not want to look at? The ranch, the voice teacher, or housekeeper who isn't afraid of pest?
I mean, there's no way that I would ever say yes to a ranch job. Like, there's just that sounds like I'd have to be outside and picking things up, baling things. I don't know. Let's just it's a hard no. So the other 2 are mabies. So I say let's hear those.
Okay. Yeah.
You had me at not wanting to pick things up.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take a look at voice teacher first.
Okay.
Because I think, there's going to be some chaos in the pest one. So here we are. The title again for our first job post is voice teacher only. And then the text begins, no pictures or anything. And it says, voice teacher needed. We are looking for a voice teacher that is able to teach in person in our studio. The in person doesn't alarm me like a bunch. In our studio does alarm me a little bit.
It's in person in our studio in a closet in a box.
This keeps getting deeper and deeper.
So yeah, I mean, just a little like red flag there. And then it says we receive regular inquiries for voice lessons from kids to adults that we can't fulfill anymore since our teachers are full. Our teachers, who are you?
They're full. They're full of what?
Extremely full.
Bursting at the seams.
A lot of those inquiries are interested in pop music or to be able to express themselves and are not interested in classical opera or technique, which I think that is a real drag.
So are they saying like, listen, we normally do classical opera technique, but nobody likes that apparently. So we're looking to get maybe Britney Spears in here. We're not sure, but whoever's available.
I do think that they're definitely shitting on people who don't want to sing classical opera. But more importantly, I think they're shitting on anybody who wants to sing like pop music. Like they're saying
no technique.
No technique. Like if you're interested in singing pop music, there's technique to that. Like there's some technique to singing that. Again, I'm not a voice teacher, but I have taken voice lessons, and I'm pretty sure that voice teacher was also very upset I didn't want to learn classical opera, but they did teach me some technique.
Like we're making a lot of changes due to what we like to call lack of interest.
Well, that's something. Yes, but they're not making changes. They're just trying to hire you to make these changes.
Okay, got it.
If you're interested, please contact us with a resume or paragraph about your experience and qualifications, and we'll provide more details. I do like that it's a resume or paragraph. His resume is pretty
yeah, that's detailed, and they're like, or just write something, just literally anything,
whatever you want to do.
Yeah, a resume is like we all know that it is a one sheet page with like bullet points on it of stuff you've done. A paragraph, like sort of legally is like 3 sentences. Like that's all you have to have. Anyway, and they'll provide more details. Like for instance, who they are. I'd be curious to know about that.
Sure.
Qualifications. We have a list here. At least 6 years teaching experience.
That's quite a bit, and a little random. Why? I feel like after like 2, you're good, right? Like you learn in those next 4 years.
Yeah. What's the big difference between 4 and 6?
They're like, we're hip to the great experience change of year 5 in teaching. Okay, so we want at least 6. Like what? What are you talking about?
Right. If somebody came in with 5 years teaching experience in singing, and they would turn them away, they'd be like, "Sorry, no, that's
at least
underqualified."
Again, if you can't convey
your paragraph was underqualified.
Yeah.
One paragraph. Yeah, I was gonna say like if you've got 6 years teaching experience, I feel like you could pull together a resume.
Yeah.
One resume. Anyway, playing the piano. Okay, the list continues. Playing the piano for accompaniment is a plus.
Oh.
That's true. If you're a voice teacher, that's just a fact. Qualifications: music degree and education. Also, not a huge red flag or anything.
Well, also, if you had a degree, I'm assuming the education comes with it, or at least I hope.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think maybe, yeah, it's a good point. But I would think maybe this is a loose term here, because it could be like, I learned my music on the streets.
Yeah. I think a lot of this is loose, guys. A lot of this is pretty fucking shooting at the hip here.
Okay, and then last on the list, being able to teach different voice techniques. Yeah, that is quite literally the job. And then there is kind of one last sentence here. It says notes. We receive a lot of one-sentence emails asking where we are located. Perhaps because you haven't told us where you're located. Although
no
we give
information.
A map. Because you've told us nothing about you and who you are. Just a guess. If you can't even start your email with some sort of greetings and be courteous and polite, we won't bother answering either, because we would not want you to communicate like that with our students.
Wow. Hold real quick. Scroll back up to their greeting. Oh, that's right. They didn't have one either.
No. They shouted at us.
Yeah.
Voice teacher needed.
just like from like a back alley somewhere, just screamed it.
They yelled at us what they need from us, and then told us it's going to be in a small space that they need it, and then didn't tell us where that small space was
at all.
Yeah.
They address the fact that lots of people are responding by asking where they're located and give no information whatsoever.
Right.
That's a key that maybe that information is necessary.
Yeah.
Well, and also, and I know that educators are probably the worst people at this, but like for people, like a group of people who they are paid to give someone feedback, and then for that person to incorporate that feedback, these people have received a lot of feedback that says, I don't know where you are, and maybe I'm afraid of you, and they have done nothing about that.
Yeah, and they've responded with what feels vaguely like a threat. There
is kind of a map here. Like, I don't know if it's like, this is just around Sacramento, basically. It's not like this is actual information, and they could have just dropped a pin anywhere, on somewhere near South Cliff Drive. The compensation does say negotiable, and the employment type is employee's choice.
Oh, great!
Yeah, CEO.
Anything I want. Does it even have to be voice teacher at this point?
Yeah, I'm just like, well, I'm actually pretty good at marbles.
Can I be sentence counter so I know how many sentences we're getting in from these resumes?
It does seem like this voice teacher, I'm gonna guess this is a couple, like a duo. They say we, but my guess that it's like two, like an uppity couple, right?
Okay,
that
sure.
Like, were raised on the boards of the theater or under the hallowed halls of the opera, and they had to move back to Sacramento for whatever reason. I don't know, maybe it's a pandemic, and they hate the fact that they have to teach people anything other than opera, and they hate you for emailing them.
Kind of like a Schitt's Creek thing, you think? Where it's just like you're talking about like these people that are like now trying to find upper crust lifestyle in their shitty Rancho Cordova home. Yeah,
that's yes, 100%.
I'm gonna say absolutely not. I don't like this. They seem super mean, and given how they wrote this out, they will be mean to you on a dime.
Oh yeah,
just turn.
Yeah. Voice teachers are paid to be mean, essentially.
You think it's gonna be like a whiplash situation, where it's like
not that
slapping
mean.
the kids around?
No,
what they
just
want
sort of just shitty,
Oh, okay.
Like I took voice lessons for I don't know, like maybe a year in college because I was in theater and there was like this musical that I really wanted to be in, and I got in it. Good job for me.
Hell
By
yeah,
the way,
dude.
there was like 10
Where's that
people
voice
up.
teacher? Maybe you should tell them about this opportunity.
I don't think so. Because I'm gonna shit on him. Because one day she was like, this is like, I don't know, like we've been, taking voice lessons for a while. And she was like, you know what? Why don't you bring in, as an exercise, like 3 singers that you like to listen to. And we'll like sort of, maybe that's, like that might contribute to your current vocal style right now. And so like, we'll talk about that. And I brought him in, and she just like shit all over him, just every because they were they weren't like
Coheed and Cambria.
He's the lead singer, Coheed and Cambria. I fucking love that guy. I'm dead serious.
My Chemical Romance.
No. Sadder, the early November, and then I forget what the third one was, but I just remember she was just like, so these guys sound super young, and I was like, well, I'm 19, so what do you think? Like, what do you think I am?
That's a weird critique. Like, they can't be older.
Yeah, and then she was like, and she's like, it sounds like you like a lot of voices that aren't classically trained. I was like, motherfucker, who in like modern media has a classically trained sounding voice, except for if you're watching an opera or listening to like musicals? I hate listening to people singing musicals. It sucks fucking dick. Yeah. Like they're just always they always hit the notes like the exact right amount, and they have that little bit of vibrato at the end. Like it's just like, what are we doing here? Why?
Well, it's just anyway. Like just answer the question. I'm trying to watch a play. All right? I don't want to stop singing. Stop singing. Why are you singing in the middle of a conversation we're having?
Just answer the question. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, and I was just like, okay, good feedback. So what I'm saying is all voice teachers are mean-spirited people. And so maybe if you are a mean person and you're a voice person who can play the piano. Also, this person smokes cigarettes. That bothered me a lot. I think that person has stopped since then. But again, what high ground are you on? Anyway, I'm not going to take this job.
I think I'd go for it because I have no qualifications. I would be terrible at it. And these people seem really mean. So what the hell? Just like go for it. All I need is a paragraph. I know the only things I need are to be 6 years of experience and being able to play the piano. And I can fake playing the piano. I mean, I can do that much. And I can say I have 6 years experience. So it sounds like I can get this job.
That's a good point.
I'll negotiate something very low that they can't say no to. You know, like, yeah, I'll take $5 an hour. Yeah, I just want to have this job for like a day just to see how it goes. Because I can't sing, so it'd be interesting to see if I could teach it. Well, I just like to find out.
Yeah, and to your point, Mike, if you really wanted to, you could just lie about all this stuff, right? And then they're like, okay, what kind of employment type you like? And you're like, I want to be the boss. Then they're working for you. They can't fire you.
Yeah. It said right there, employee's choice.
Yeah.
Well, you have to make sure they hire you first and then say, guess what? My choice is boss.
Right.
And they're like, no. And then you're like living in their house or whatever.
Yeah, it's the real switcheroo.
That's how bosses work.
Yeah,
you just get people's houses.
Yeah, you just live in their houses there.
Right.
All right. Well, job posting number 2 then is I need housekeeper who isn't afraid of pests.
And what is this picture?
Correct. We have a picture right away, and it is a white woman in a black. I guess you could call this a blazer. It's a blazer.
At the funeral of an enemy.
Yeah, that is not a smile. I don't know what she's doing with her mouth, but that is not a smile. That's terrifying.
It is very much a stock photo that we have here. Like,
obviously, her smile looks like superimposed or whatever. It looks like they photoshopped that.
Yeah,
just like aggressive.
I think it's a real smile. I just think that like this is a dead-eyed person from a stock photo website who. Why you'd feel the need for this? It's obvious that this person's been photoshopped out of their background though, because we have some
and not very well.
Yeah, not particularly well.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, on her
we've
hair
got some
there.
clipped hair here, and then something, So either this person either has Photoshop skills or found this on the internet. And again, I assume that this is the exact person that this person wants to apply to this, pest housemaid thing. That is for sure never going to be the person who's going to apply.
No.
To this job.
Not enough beard.
Not enough beard?
Yeah.
Let's hope. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, not enough hard Scrabble energy, I think. Especially if you need to be isn't afraid of pest. Okay, so the ad begins. And there's not a lot of text, but there's definitely a little paragraph here.
I mean, it's a paragraph, yeah. Get you a
and
job.
they can qualify for a voice teacher.
Yeah.
We're moving due to my work schedule. I'm not able to pack up my kitchen cupboard as quickly as I would like.
One sentence there, right?
Yeah, one sentence. What a very specific problem. Kitchen cupboard only, due to us living near Levee, we had mice.
Of course.
Oh,
We had mice.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah,
you
the
living
levy.
near Levy. Yeah.
The mouse levy.
Everybody knows about mouse levies.
Yeah. That's what
My-
you go to Brookside. That's where it is.
My maintenance have laid traps, sealed holes, and there may be some still in the cupboards. There's definitely some still in the cupboards.
Yeah.
Maybe. Definitely. I need someone who isn't afraid to pack up my kitchen cupboards by throwing all loose bagged stuff like rice, beans, and pasta away and packing the canned goods.
Sure.
Sure, yeah. If you are wanting the canned goods, we can talk about it. All right. The job should take no more than 2 hours. I willing to pay $35 to $50 an hour. Serious inquiries only. Cash pay. And that is the post.
I think if you're that afraid of mice, I'm going to tell you which one of these canned goods I'm keeping. Because, like, I'm just going to tell you that one had a mouse on it.
Yeah. Here's what I think is going on here. This person's cupboard is crawling with mice.
Both living and dead.
Yes, correct.
Because because the only reason that this person would say that they might have, they know for sure, because if they haven't opened yet to see the dead ones, because I think they hear the living ones still moving around in there.
Correct. Yes, that is exactly it. This person knows there's mice in there, has duct taped closed all the cupboards, and is like, you know what we're gonna do? We're going to move the rest of the stuff. I'm going to come up with an extremely elaborate lie about moving due to my work schedule. You can't back up your kitchen cupboard as quickly as you would like.
But you can spend the time posting on Craigslist, waiting for somebody to respond, get over there. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Right, and adding a picture of like a business white woman.
Right, you'd have to search for that. Yeah, exactly. That
and
time
crop
you could have
a photo.
You definitely could have spent this time cleaning out your cupboard. There's no way.
The whole time in the background,
leaving
there's
it
like
for
a
dead.
mouse like slamming on the inside of the door. It's like a scary movie.
Yeah, and I will say, mice are they are a lot more terrifying than you ever want them to be. Mainly because they are so like silent. How can something move that quickly and make so little noise?
Real little.
Real
And
little
mice.
And they're real fast, those fucking mice. So there's mice, there are mice just thrashing about inside this person's rice and beans and pasta.
That they
like,
still might want to keep.
That's what I'm saying. You want to keep, why not just take a shovel, and just scrape them out onto the floor, right? And then just sweep it out. Like it's got to be so bad. It has to be so bad in there.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet. Yeah, there's probably at least, honestly, like 3 or 4 real live mice, and then like
so many dead mice.
9 dead ones, 9, 10 dead ones as soon as you open the thing, and
just come pouring out.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, and again, like, how big could your cupboards possibly be?
Yeah, like they hit you with like the velocity of like slime on Nickelodeon award shows. Mice just hitting you in the face over and over. Just, but it's just
like
mice.
someone getting hosed.
Yeah.
But it's all mice. There's a fuckload of mice in this person's cupboard. And they are obviously terrified to open it again. And they're downplaying this super hard.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, no,
Okay.
But here's what I am interested in, though, a little bit. They're paying hourly. Do they expect us to take long? Like, let's just imagine there's no mice,
right?
And you got a cupboard. Like, I'm just imagining my cupboards with the food. These are
sure. Usually, yeah.
Any longer than an hour would be quite a lot of food in there.
Yeah. I will say, because they're in Brookside, right? That's where this is like actually located.
Brookside, yeah.
Okay, so that is like Northwest Stockton, and it is like rich area.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
it could be a pretty huge cabinet. But to your point, it's not an hour and a half long job of a cabinet.
It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Yeah, it says it shouldn't take more than 2 hours, I guess, but still 2 hours, and that's $100. That seems like, I don't know, a lot of money out of your life to not just throw some shit away.
Yeah. Again, if you can afford to pay someone $50 an hour for 2 hours to, pack up your rice, beans, and pasta, why not just throw away your rice, beans, and pasta and start a new life?
What I'm thinking is, what if it's like you do it and then there's more jobs once you're there? Like, it's like, yeah, actually there's some plates in this cabinet. Can you wash those plates? I don't know if mice have been on them.
Yeah.
And it starts being more and more smaller jobs.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think.
Because it makes no sense especially if it's going to be throwing stuff away, which it has to mostly be that. If you're afraid of mice, which is fine, there's no way you want to keep the shit that's been all infected with mice.
No.
And what is the, like, is it against the law to like leave stuff in your house? Like there couldn't be more than $100 fine, right? Like just leave it there.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It seems like this person's rich. If they're in this like nice area. Yeah. What's the fucking problem, dude? Why not leave, and just, pay the penalty.
Yeah,
it does. None of this makes sense.
Even if it is $200, like you're obviously willing to pay someone $100 to get rid of them. What if you just never had to touch it ever again?
Well, another thing that's weird, and I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, is I'm going to say I would consider this because it sounds like something maybe my aunt would ask me to do. Like this just very much sounds like something your grandma would be like, oh, can you help grandma clean out the cabinets? And your grandma would be like, I'll give you $50 because old people don't have a concept of money at some point, or they don't care, Yeah. So it's like, so I would do this job. It's weird to me that this person has literally no one.
Yeah, this is a favor. This is a favor. Why is this on Craigslist? This is like,
I'll tell you. Go ahead.
No. I'm just like, it really seems like something that you could ask anybody. Yeah, a loved one, a neighbor, a random person on the street. Hey, can you come in real quick? I just have some canned goods that need to be tossed in a bag. This does not seem like it needs to be extended to the Craigslist universe.
And that is why we know that it's super bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's how we know that it is fucking. It's a horror show.
That slime mice situation.
The slime mice situation, or the mice have like gotten like they're starting to fight each other. Because they're running out of food.
Like they're going to war.
Yeah, there's like blood all over the place.
Yeah, do you think there's like a possibility that there's like some treasure in there? Like they forgot it's in one of the canned goods is $1 million, but they can't remember which one, and they're really afraid of the mice. Like there needs to be some stakes for them to be this passionate about getting those canned goods out of there with that many mice.
Sure. And so you think that that you find the can, and as soon as you find it, there's like shovel in the back of your head, and you go out, or do you think they're legitimately going to split this treasure with you?
I don't know. They do say
they're going to call it like a can of beans. I'm like, oh, thanks for that. My favorite can of beans. And they walk away, and they never tell you there was treasure in there.
Well, they mention if you're wanting the canned goods, we can talk about it. Which leads me to believe, if these were just regular canned goods and you're already paying $100 for somebody to come over and clean out your cupboard, I feel like you could just have those canned goods if you wanted them. But they're like, we can just listen, we'll talk about it.
We also should discuss a little bit the syntax here. If you are wanting, I willing to pay. This could be English second language is a possibility. I think the other thing, it could be just someone in an utter panic. Because I think these mice are, again, if you see one mouse in your apartment, you got a mouse problem, right? If you see multiple mice in your apartment or house, you've got a infestation, right?
Yeah.
So like the fact that they are in the cupboards means that they are also other places in the house. Everywhere else that they want, anywhere else they want to be in this house, they're in this house. So I think this person maybe is in the midst of being overrun by mice and is like panically typing and photoshopping this on their computer, and that's why the syntax is super weird.
Like the cupboard's getting closer and closer to him, like a killer in a scary movie. Like you turn back, the cupboard's a little closer to him.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying these scenarios, and it doesn't make me want to do this, but I'll watch the movie when it comes out.
Oh, absolutely! I've been writing down notes this whole time. I love the idea.
Cupboard mice, I'm all about it.
And we can cast this lady, whoever she is. I'm still kind of baffled by the picture of this woman here. What does this bring to the job? You're saying you think that this is their ideal candidate, right? I was thinking the opposite.
Yes.
I was thinking like this is the homeowner.
That's what I was thinking too, Mike. Yeah.
No, that would be.
No, I don't think it
unhinged.
is. I don't think that it is the homeowner. Of course, this is a professional photo, but I think that they're trying to be like, come to my house. This is me. This woman here.
Like they're trying to get it so that this lady is talking to you.
Correct.
Yeah.
We're moving due to my work schedule. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like she's like, I'm a realtor. See, and like it's just
you can trust me. I'm not a murderer.
Yeah.
You know,
The fact
it's like
that she's wearing all black is extremely villain sidekick.
Yeah. I don't like it very much. Like it's like hitting me in a weird way. I'm wearing all black, and that's hitting me in a weird way. What I was thinking was, okay, so you go there, right? And then this woman is acting all weird or whatever, and you find out she's actually just a bunch of mice.
Yeah, she's my skin. Yeah, she's.
Yeah. And then
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And this is all the mice typing this, trying to get more victims.
Yeah, it's like Men in Black.
Yeah. This is, I imagine, very much the end of Psycho, where they like turn her around, and then it's just there's a mouse coming out of her eye or whatever.
Right.
And it makes like a noise when it comes out.
She was mice the whole time.
She was mice the whole time.
The classic twist ending. I mean, how many times have we seen it? But it never gets old.
Yeah, I will say I am far more interested in this job because of the way we've talked about it.
Yeah, no, I'm very like again. They don't have an address, but I would like to do a drive-by. Just
to see if you can see them. Maybe you can see them from the satellite picture. Just the mice exploding.
Yeah, see the mice coming out of the chimney. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say fuck this place because again, I have helped. I have in fact been paid to help old people and weird people clean up shit, and it is always older and weirder than you think it is ever going to be.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. The smells alone.
Oh, the smells. It's like it smells like
so
wood,
unique. Yeah.
but also dead at the same time.
Yeah, I was gonna say it smells like a person turning into wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Yeah. There's absolutely no way. I mean, when it said pests at first, I was expecting bugs, which would be like way worse for me. But still the mice turns me away. Literally everything about this turns me away. Yeah. No, absolutely not.
Yeah, fuck this place.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on, guys?
Wanted to remind you that you can text the podcast anytime you want.
Night or day, whenever the hell you want.
It's fine. It's the number is 470-BAD-JOBS. The actual numbers are 470-223-5627. That's the number.
So yeah, anytime you want. Like I said, middle of the night, whenever. We don't got jobs right now. Whatever's going on with you is going on with us.
I mean, absolutely. Maybe you still have a job and it's like shitty. You can tell us about that. Maybe you don't have a job and it was shitty before.
Maybe you're getting one of those weird like temperature forehead checks right now.
For sure.
And you want to pull out your phone and just say, you know what, fuck you guys. I'm going to text 470-BAD-JOBS.
470-223-5627 is the number. That is the number. And you can also call us if you want, but I mean, whatever. It's your choice. That's the point here.
Mike, what's the first job you ever had?
All right. So the first real job I ever had, like signing a W-2 and all that, was working at Lodi Stadium 12 movie theater. Nick, I think that you're familiar with this establishment.
I am very familiar with this establishment. Yes,
I believe that we were coworkers at this establishment.
I think for a very brief time.
Briefly. Yeah, I was like, Nick, you should work at the movie theater. And you were like, yeah, all right. And then I was like, also, I quit. So,
yeah. Hey, Mike, we work together. And you were like walking out. But, oh, man, good times.
So what drew you to the Lodi Stadium 12?
Well, my best bud back in high school and still to this day, Josh, who I think is going to be on the podcast in the future.
I think you're correct.
He worked there, and I love movies. That's my whole thing. And so that just seemed like the perfect place to work. And like, you get to watch movies for free. I mean, there's no downside to working at a movie theater other than getting paid nothing, of course.
Sure.
But it
Yeah,
was my
I
first.
mean,
It was my first job.
Yeah, you're right. I know a fair number of people who've quit from movie theaters for really, pretty downside reasons. And not to say that they're all like, someone beat them up or anything, but like, oh, I really, I got in trouble for eating too much popcorn or whatever. So.
Oh well, they must have had a lot of
popcorn.
popcorn.
Yeah, that was
Well, the movie theater
60 pounds of popcorn.
The movie theater in my hometown was very corporate, and so they wouldn't let you. You could only have, those like sandwich baggies that don't seal. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
that are
like
just
fold
they're
over.
It's like
those are bullshit.
The most bullshit bags of all time.
Mhm.
They were only allowed. They could have as much popcorn as they want, but only if they put it.
Oh man!
I couldn't put it into a cup or anything. They had to put it into those like non-exist. Like imagine trying to fit popcorn. It's like a riddle. Like you can have as much popcorn as you want as long as you put it in this weird sandwich bag. You piece of shit.
It's like in a child's mitten, as much popcorn as you can fit
like
into
a cursed
child's mitten.
Yeah.
We didn't. I don't think there was any limitation whatsoever to how much popcorn you could have. Like
no.
It was a like a local movie theater. It wasn't a corporate chain. I think there was like maybe like 2 or 3 others under the same umbrella, but it was for all intents and purposes a independent movie theater. And I remember just filling up boxes and boxes and boxes of popcorn for people when they would come in on like on their day off or whatever, and they would like bring their family and they'd be like, yeah, just give me like 700 boxes of popcorn. And like, you just fill them up. The only weird thing was the soda was you could have as much soda as you wanted, but you could only use the little sample water cups. So you would get, which is like, like 4 ounces. So you would get like 4 ounces of soda at a time. You could come back and refill it as much as you wanted.
Shots of soda.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember them being very, very conservative with their hot dogs, though.
The hot dogs, listen, they don't joke around with the hot dogs, and you do not mess around with the nachos.
No.
Like, what was weird is it wasn't the cheese. Like, everything is based on what was or was not like counted at the end of the night. Right. And they would count the like bins of chips, but they wouldn't count like how much cheese was in the cheese barrel.
So much fucking liquid cheese
in the cheeser. Yeah.
Right. And so same thing with the soda and popcorn. It's like nobody counts how much popcorn we have. Nobody counts how much soda we have. You can drink it or eat as much as that. But when it comes to hot dogs, we did count that shit. It was like, although if there are hot dogs at the end of the night, you could eat them, but you should not.
No.
And also you should not eat the hot dogs at the movie theater.
They're prepared
not
by
ever.
teenagers.
Yeah. I remember feeling like at the end of a shift, they would be like, look, there's 1 hot dog left. Who wants it? And there'd be like 3 people, including myself. So I'd be like, oh shit, I can't, do you want, like trying to be polite, but you all want it? And then like one day being like, I don't fucking want that hot dog. Why am I? It's just
it was like a prize. It was like a big deal. Like, like who gets the hot dog? But it was nasty because like, so you leave them on the grill all day, like you're supposed to change them out after however long. But if it's a slow day and nobody's buying hot dogs, they're going to be on there all day.
Yeah.
And then you also at a certain point put them into a bun, put them into a little bag, and then that goes into like some sort of like steamer. And so if those have been in the steamer for more than like 10 minutes, they're just absolutely soggy, just like completely drenched in water. And that's where they stay most of the day. So when you get those ones at the end of the night, you got a hot dog that's been rolling around all day. You got a bun that's been hydrating, and you just got a nasty hot dog and a soaked bun.
Yeah, it's like you want a hot dog. It looks like your fingers after they're in the water for too long,
and then set on fire, and then dunked in water. So
it's made out of Freddy Krueger skin.
Yeah,
and that was a prize. That was a prize at the end of the day.
Bad. It looks like fucking leathery and shit. Like it's been like there's been like there's like a salt crust that's been forming, over and over and over again. So it's like the skin has gotten like triple as thick.
Yeah, magical barrier that it builds up.
Yeah.
God, I miss those hot dogs.
Also maybe just don't get hot dogs at the movie theater.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? It's not a place for a meal.
Yeah, and it would be like $40 for one of those hot dogs.
Yeah.
Just like so expensive. More expensive than anything else you did to get into that theater or like anything.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think movies were $4 or $4.50, and I think the hot dogs were $5. So it was more expensive than going to see the movie.
You're paying fucking
like Pierce Brosnan, $4.25 to see Goldeneye or whatever, and then you are paying Mike Streeter $5.
That's right, and I did get all that money. So
well, Pierce Brosnan didn't get your $4.25 either.
That's true. I do like being compared to Pierce Brosnan though, so
yeah,
I appreciate the scenario. Yeah.
Anytime. So I mean, your buddy said it would be good to work there, and then you did.
What? I don't know if he said it would be good to work there. He just
like
he said it's a job. Because I was already getting the benefit of the free movies, because on top of getting yourself in, you could get in other people.
Yeah,
I think there was a limitation of like 4 other people or something, but like I said, it was pretty chill as far as like giving free stuff to the employees. So we did get like as much free movies as we wanted. So yeah, I was already getting free movies. So I don't know. I guess I was a sucker. I should have just kept getting those free movies. And
yeah.
But no, I wanted a job, and it seemed like an easy job, and it seemed like kind of a fun job. And yeah, I applied. It's the first job I really ever applied for, and I got it right away. And it was my very first day there. I'll never forget. My very first day was May 2nd, 2002. The reason I remember the exact day is because Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, came out in May 3rd, 2002, and was the biggest opening of any movie in history at the time. And I was like, this is essentially my first day. And it's the busiest the movie theater has ever been, ever.
Hilarious.
But no, I loved.
Like, what were you assigned to on that day?
I worked concession. I always worked
all concessions.
I always worked concession. I think Nick and Josh both worked usher, and maybe that's why they had like a less great experience.
Job. Oh.
No, I think that concession was the job to have.
Really?
Unless you're working box office. Box office is probably like the chillest, because, well, not chillest, because you do have to still help a lot of people.
A lot of transactions, yeah.
But you just get to sit there the entire day. Sure. Like, you just sit down.
And also, most of the time, people who walk up, they know what they want. They might be weird about it, but like,
say the wrong name.
Yeah, there's like 5 people here. It's like, okay, well, we're all going to watch Jurassic Park 2, like, or whatever the fuck it is.
Well, and it's also like, I mean, this is true of all the positions, but it's a rush type job. So it's only busy at certain times because there's only movies starting at certain times.
Right.
So you have like a downtime of like an hour, where if you're an usher, it means you're cleaning. If it's a concession, it means you're restocking and cleaning. If you're in box, it just means you're hanging out.
Right.
But you are stuck with one other person. So if that person isn't somebody you love, it's, that's an awkward hour of just sitting next to somebody. Yeah. No, I loved concession. I think working at the movie theater to this day is my favorite job. I had a blast. I only worked there for, I think, 10 months, less than a year for sure. And I kind of always am like, why was that so short? Like that was a great job. That was so much fun. But then I remember that they didn't pay me. So
sure, they don't pay you shit. And people were like, the customers mean, or I mean, like, it sounds to me like you were just fine. It's just like, oh, whatever.
I mean, customers are customers. No matter where you work, customers suck. Like,
that's true.
If you're working in customer service, I mean, not everybody. There are cool customers, and that's where the phrase comes from. Cool customer. But for the most part, like, I think that actually most customers are cool. It's just that you always remember the terrible ones.
Yeah.
And they are quite terrible.
Yeah.
And I mean, the worst thing that we would get with customers would be the butter situation, which you would not think would be you wouldn't think would be that big of a deal. I mean, I don't know, maybe you are one of these butter people, but there are a high percentage of people in the world that are very specific about the type and amount of butter that they want on their popcorn. I remember we would get people that would come in and be like, I want you to fill up half the bag. I want you to salt it, butter it, and then fill up like 3/4 more, and then I want salt again, and then twice the butter, and then one more time, and then just drench it with butter.
Oh my fucking God.
This recipe.
Yeah, like it was like a very specific formula. Like it was like, it needs to be done this way or else I'm not going to eat it.
And did you comply?
Of course, yeah. What am I going to do? There's no limitation.
You're like, he had a gun. What was I going to
Absolutely. I don't know. I just assumed everybody had guns.
So
Did I not have to do that?
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, they would just be like, all right, I'm going to order this popcorn. And then as soon as they order, they're like, all right, so here's how we're going to fucking do this.
Oh, I'm sure that came up first. I'm sure that they came up and be like, okay, this is going to be a process. Walk with me through this. Like, they're not going to ask for a popcorn before they start explaining what they want.
Right.
It's very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, did you make it right? Like most of the time?
Yeah, I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. I was 18 years old. I knew what I was doing.
There was like no restriction on how much butter you could use or anything?
No, there was no cap. I guess we could have put a sign that was like 2 pumps maximum or something, but
right.
You don't want riots though. You don't want big fights. Butter wars.
I guarantee you that would have escalated into some pretty serious scenarios where people would have been like, first of all, they would have been like, I will pay. I will give you extra money for it. Like, these people are serious.
Give me that
money is not
butter.
an object. Yeah. And that is not butter. I tell you right now, it is definitely not
Yellow.
something you should be consuming. Yeah.
It's yellow.
Just hydrogenated coconut oil, whatever.
It's some sort of nasty oil stuff. I mean, it's delicious. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But
It's definitely several words that are all longer than butter.
Yeah, whatever that is. Man. Well, how did you leave?
That is a pretty fun story, I guess. I had been promoted to supervisor after I'd worked there for a couple of months, and I was like, cool. And they were like, we're going to give you a raise for that, obviously. And I was like, yeah, that's how it works. When you get more responsibility, you get more money. And I think it was a quarter raise at the time, which was a long time ago. So it was, that's a little bit, carries a little bit more weight at the time. And but they never actually followed through on it. So I'd been working as a supervisor for like a few months, maybe even like 6 months. It had been a while, too long. And so me and some of the other people that had also been in the same situation where we had been promoted and hadn't actually gotten any raises were like, yeah, we need to go into the office and we need to say, hey, give us our money or we're walking. And we had, it was a big thing. It wasn't a big thing. It was me and one other person, but
sure.
It felt like
it
felt like a revolution at the time. So we both go in there and I'm like, listen, you either give me my money on my next paycheck or I'm walking. I'm sick of this. If you can't promise me that starting next week, I'm going to be getting this money, like, I'm not going to work here anymore. And like, without missing a beat, they were just sort of like, okay, like, you can leave. Like there was no even like, sure, we'll see what we can do, or maybe it is in the works, or it was just sort of like, yeah, it's not going to happen. We're not actually going to give you that money. And then I turned to my friend to kind of be like, yeah, we're out of here. And she had just like disappeared. Like she had just like in a puff of smoke vanished. And so when I had initially felt like the confidence walking in there being like, yeah, we're going to change the way this movie theater is run. I was all on my lonesome, and I was the only one who quit that day.
Hilarious.
Yeah. So I kind of went back out and was like, so you kind of disappeared on me in there, huh? And she was like, yeah, well, turns out I kind of want to keep my job. So I saw what happened to you. I saw that they were not interested, and I decided to
painted myself
abandon the
into
plan.
a corner there.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm still trying to see these Lord of the Rings movies for free, Mike. I'm sorry.
And so then you were like, well, I guess I have to quit, and you just.
I had conviction back then. Like I had morals, I had standards. I was like, if you're not going to pay me, I'm not going to work here.
You're like, a quarter's a quarter, lady. All right,
yeah.
We're doing this.
Well, I mean, come on, like that's crazy. Like you can't afford to pay me 1 quarter more. I'm already making minimum wage, and you can't afford to pay me 1 quarter more.
We're doing more work. I mean,
right? It's not for nothing. I'm not asking. I did a significant amount more work than I did when I was.
No, for sure. No, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah. So
like,
yeah,
I'll just do more work.
All right, cool. Okay, Mike. So that was your first job ever. What would you say is the worst job you've ever had?
So I've been thinking about this, and I'm going to tell you my worst job, and then I'm going to put a little button and say, like, I have a more interesting story that's like a really short one that I'll put at the end. But that one's a Hollywood-based story, so it's got the juicier kind of, backstory.
It's got Pierce Brosnan in it.
It's got a lot of famous people, It doesn't. So the worst job I ever had is when I worked at Target.
Fuck.
And
that sounds harsh.
I had moved to Austin, Texas on a whim. I had just been like, Austin seems like a cool place to live. And so I quit my job. I left my apartment. I packed everything up, drove there, had no job, had no apartment lined up, and didn't know anybody. Which is not, it turns out is not like the best plan.
It's not the worst plan though. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, worst plans involve, well, let me just do a bunch of drugs where I live now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not the worst plan. It's not a great one.
Yeah.
You're right. There are definitely dumber things that I could have done. As far as like life situations go, though, it wasn't the most thought out. It turns out that it ended up being okay, and I didn't like starve to death or be homeless or anything. But got there. I moved there with a friend of mine, and we found an apartment right away. And so that was fine. But then we quickly realized we needed to have income in order to live. And so we started applying to jobs everywhere, and I just couldn't get, it had been like 2 months and I couldn't find anything. And I was mostly applying at like coffee places because that's what I had been doing. I worked at the Coffee Bean for like 4 years before that. And so I was like, hey, I got a lot of experience making coffee. But nobody was calling me back. And then finally I got a call back from Target when I was just like absolutely desperate. Like I have to have anything. I didn't want to, I knew that Target was going to be a shit job, but I had to work somewhere. So
you're sleeping in your car?
No, I was sleeping in a roach infested apartment. It wasn't so bad, And so I go into the interview at Target, and they're like, oh, I see you have coffee experience here. We should have you in the Starbucks. And so I was like, oh, well, yeah, that's way better. So yes, I will take the Starbucks job. So I worked at the Starbucks inside of Target. But what you might not know is that you don't actually work at Starbucks. You work for Target.
Right.
So my paychecks come from Target, and at any moment they can be like, hey, we want you to work on the lanes, not on coffee right now.
Oh shit.
So the Starbucks part of Target actually wasn't that bad, which is where I worked most of the time. But the worst part was being on the lanes. I mean, I cannot
lanes again?
like like the checkout, like where you
checkout lanes.
Sorry, I forget that not everybody's worked at Target. They don't know the lane.
Target lingo, man.
So what's your responsibility on the lanes?
Like nothing. Like that's the worst part, is that it's just absolutely soul crushingly boring. Like you stand there. I mean, it's one of two things. It's either a nonstop crazy line on a Sunday where it's just like forever and never stops, or there's just nothing. And you don't really have any other jobs because like there are a shit ton of people that work at Target. There are people that do every individual task. So other than like if some kid has come through and like messed up all of the candy or something on your lane, there's not anything to do. So you literally just stand there.
So we just want to clarify, you're not a cashier.
Yeah. I mean, you're checking people out.
Oh,
so
you're the cashier in the lanes.
Yeah.
That was your job. Okay, cool.
Yeah. All you do is stand there and check stuff out. And then I'm also really bad at it, which turns out is a thing you can have a skill at. It's like putting things in bags that are not like, oh yeah, put the bleach next to the eggs, like right on top of it. It's like, I'm apparently not good at that. Because I got a lot of people being like, what are you doing?
Why did you take every egg out individually? What do you think?
Well, to me, it's just always like, put as much shit in one bag as you can. And
get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. And that is not everybody's philosophy.
I completely agree with you. It's the reason I love the bring your own bags revolution, because it's just like, look, I see people trying to bag my shit, like, especially once the pandemic started.
Right.
And I can see the anxiety that they have from dealing with not me, but dealing with other people. And you're like, dude, let it go. Like, I don't give a shit where that frozen pizza goes.
Right. I know people
going home is where it's going.
They will ask me stuff like, is it okay if these go in the same bag? And I'm like, yeah, I have absolutely, there's no, I would have never thought about it. Yeah. Do whatever you want.
Yeah. And I get it. There's some people that, there are some things like, don't put the eggs within like the bag of hammers, but like, it's really just the eggs and the bread like that. And then chips maybe,
Yeah. And the bag of hammers. Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you put the bag of hammers? Every time you go to Target, where does your bag of hammers go?
Yeah. There were, a lot of people got bags of hammers. It's a popular item at Target.
Question, at that time, was there a grocery element to that Target, or was it more of a Target?
It was still in the early days of the grocery Target, so it wasn't like a full-blown grocery store, but we did have there was like, milk and like essential type stuff, but
Did you
not
nice produce numbers?
No, there was no fruit or anything like that. Yeah, I've never worked at a grocery store, so I'm sure that's much harder. But no, it's just
now at Targets, it's like they got fucking celery, organic broccoli, and it's not barcode. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sounds like a goddamn nightmare.
Yeah, it sounds like it's gotten worse, honestly.
Yes.
So, if it was bad then, I can't imagine how it is now. But that was essentially the whole job, was just standing there all day for 8 hours and doing nothing. And like, you might have somebody kind of close to you in another lane, but again, it was like Target has so many people that work there that like I didn't know the other people. Like it would be like, it's not like I would come in and be like, oh, what's up, Craig? What's up, Jenny? It'd be like, I don't know who any of these people are. And it also wasn't like the movie theater where it was like everybody here is 18 years old and we're all just like fucking around and having a good time. It was like, this is a lot of people's like job, like their career. Yeah. So it was like people taking it seriously. It was a lot of older people. It was a lot of people that were like, I need this job to pay for my kids to eat. And I was just like, I just want an Xbox game. I don't care. Yeah, it was no fun. I do not recommend at all.
So how often, I mean, like you're on Starbucks, how often were you on one or the other?
Usually it would be like you got scheduled an entire day at one or the other.
Oh, fuck.
So usually I worked at Starbucks, but then I would see on the schedule that it would be a Target day. And you would have to know ahead of time because you have to wear what color shirt you're going to be wearing. You gotta be wearing a red shirt, green. Or a black shirt at Starbucks. Yeah, and then you have a green apron. Come on,
that's
Nick.
What it is. Man, my bad.
The other thing that sucked was that we couldn't get tips at that Starbucks because we were Target employees.
Right.
So they were like, "Oh, Target employees can't accept tips," which is bullshit anyway. It's like if somebody wants to give me money, I'm going to take it.
Take it. Yeah.
But we had a little secret tip jar where people would be like, "Oh, can I give you a tip?" And we'd be like, "Listen, we can't accept tips. We do have a jar here full of money. If you want to throw something in there, that's totally up to you. But it's not a tip. We're just, to be clear, not a tip."
Right. Do you want to contribute to this jar full of money nearby that's associated with me and my coworkers? Did you get to know the Starbucks people at all?
Yeah, the Starbucks people are closer because it's you and one other person, and you work together the whole time. And there's only probably like maybe 10 people that work at the Starbucks. Probably less, honestly. It was probably like 8 people. But the sad part about that Starbucks was that you don't have to have 2 people working at all times like you would at a normal Starbucks because you work inside a Target. You have other people that are around you. It's not like a safety issue.
Right. Yeah.
So sometimes it would just be me standing there by myself at the Starbucks, and that's not fun. But I don't know. For some reason, it was less depressing than standing behind a checkout lane.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, there was stuff you could do.
It's got to be one of the worst gigs.
It is. Like, even though like I don't love doing like cleaning and stocking and all that stuff, at least it's something to fill the time. It's something different to do.
I mean, like there's so much that's awful about being a cashier. Not even when you consider the people you have to interact with or talk to. But like, yeah, you're just literally standing in the exact same fucking spot. Like at least when you have to restock cups, you have to turn your body and bend over to pick up cups. And it's just like, that's just something different I did today.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's lots of, you walk around, there's way more movement involved. You're actually making the drinks as a physical activity. It's, you have to use your brain a little bit.
And making drinks can be fun. Like when if you're at the right pace with it, it's kind of fun. Whereas when you're just a cashier, that's the most used you're ever going to feel at the job.
In terms of everything.
You're like, I might as well just be a machine. And then someone had that idea, and that's where self-checkout came from. It's like,
they're like, why do we pay people for this?
Yeah. So
like zero skill at all. Yeah.
Well, and that be, I mean, and yet it's like, I would say that, for a large volume of things, I think a cashier is actually still faster than a self-checkout situation because those motherfuckers just like, bah, 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 bah. And when they know the numbers, like, because the Target now, they have produce. When they know the numbers, man, they're, like avocados, fucking carrots, like, and it gets done faster for sure.
Every time I've gone to a self-checkout, something has gone wrong, and they just call a cashier over. So I just go to the cashiers. I'm just like, whatever. I'm gonna end up seeing you either way. So let's just get this going.
That is very true. That's like the most my heart will ever sink is when I go to a self checkout and it's like you have to call somebody over.
Yeah.
I kind of just want to leave my stuff and just leave, like walk out of the store and just be like,
I came here to talk to
this.
nobody.
Well, sometimes it's like dramatic. Like it'll honk at you, the machine, and then the lights change on it. You're like, "Fuck, are the police gonna show up?"
Yeah, they'll
What's
like
happening?
accuse you. They'll be like, "Hold, don't move anywhere because we need to check and make sure you're not a burglar." You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, whoa.
Yeah, just like a
trying to
baton hits the
buy a
machine.
Mento. Yeah.
Like shit.
It just starts shocking you.
Oh, you're not getting extra bags, are you? Let me see your bags.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
How many bags? Did you put this many bags on the thing? Did you say you were getting 2 bags? I thought I did. I don't know. Is
So what was your so you got that because you needed it? Like,
yes. That was the absolute last resort option.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get paid.
Were you able to pivot away from it?
Yeah, I moved back to California. So
hilarious. So
Yeah.
hold on. So you moved to Austin to work in a Target.
Yep.
And you're like, God damn it, I'm miserable.
Yes.
And then you're like, you know what? Let's just scratch on the whole experiment. I'm moving home.
That is absolutely true. Yeah. I loved Austin. Austin is great. It's a really fun city to live in.
Yeah.
Not a fun Target to work in, though.
Not a fun Target to work in.
That is the downside.
I would highly suspect it might even be the funnest Target to work at in the whole world, but it's still that bad.
Yeah.
I doubt that that's true.
You might be right.
But that was bad. But Austin was great, and it was kind of sad leaving. But I didn't want to work there anymore, and there's just way more opportunity for working in film and stuff in Los Angeles. So I moved back to California and got a job at Starbucks. So. Actually, at the Coffee Bean, but
you're like, I got a job at a Target inside of a Starbucks. So.
Whole lot better.
It's like that one bit. It's like, that section inside every Starbucks where it's like CDs or whatever. Like,
right.
That's the Target inside.
I was just in charge of selling the CDs to people.
Yeah. You're like, come on, it's Michael Bublé for Christmas.
You love Nora Jones.
just kind of leaning there casually, like flipping the CD around, looking at the back to all the customers, just being like, "Oh, this is a pretty good one. I think I might buy this one. This is a heck of an album right here. I'd buy 3 of these."
What a steal!
You're like,
don't steal.
Yeah, $25 for a CD is a great deal.
Yeah, you're just like, come away with me. Well, who is this playing? Is this no job?
Yeah.
Oh, the album's right here.
You have it right here.
You can just get it right now.
That's so convenient.
Love that song about pancakes.
Okay, so that's the worst job, but you had another?
Yeah, so this is just a quick story just because it's more interesting than working at Target, and I kind of just want to share my idiocy with the world.
Yeah, I'm just like, well, I'm a more interesting person than that.
Yeah, hey, listen, I don't just work at Target. So after I graduated from film school, this is before I started working at Target, so you can see what a fantastic job my film school did for me. I got a gig from a friend where there was somebody that wanted to put together like a little pitch video for a movie that they wanted to make. And it was a movie that was going to be called Twins. And right away I was like, well, there's already a movie called Twins.
It's a pretty good one.
It's pretty much a classic. So come on, guys.
He was like, yeah, we're making that.
and they were like, it's going to be, we want it to be starring Will Ferrell and Ben Stiller. And we want you to make a video that's kind of like gives the vibe of this movie that we want to pitch to investors or something. Right. I still have no idea what they actually wanted me to do. I'm not skilled in anything that would be good for that. Like, I think I just ended up making like a slideshow of just pictures of Ben Stiller and Will Ferrell and put some like funny music behind it. And this is for a legitimate studio, like a actual big time director that could have made this movie. But I'm 19 years old or like 20 years old, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And I think like, well, I just graduated from film school. I know everything. I'm a genius.
Definitely.
So of course I can handle this. So I put together this really shitty video, and I go down to where I'm supposed to deliver it to them. This is like before the internet was really like big, you know. It's before you were like delivering stuff over the internet. Anyway, I had to put it on a CD.
Hell yeah.
And so I drive to the location, and this is the only time in my entire life that I've actually gone onto a studio lot. That was the peak of my career. You drive up and there's the gate thing, and they're like, "Are you on the list?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my name's right here." And they're like, "Oh wow," and I drive to the director's bungalow, and it's like. It's this whole big thing. And I meanwhile, I'm thinking like, yeah, this is just going to be my life from now on. Like, this is just how things are.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm just splicing in Ben Stiller, Will Ferrell videos forever.
Yeah, I'm a big time. I've basically made it at this point. So I go into the office, and the guy's assistant is there, and they're like, "Oh, he's in a meeting." And I'm just going to use the guy's name because I've been blacklisted for sure already from this guy. His name's Walt Becker, and he's a big time shitty Hollywood comedy director.
Okay.
And they were like, "Yeah, Walt's in a meeting, but he'll be out in a second, and we can kind of like go over this. Like, we'll watch the thing, and we'll talk about whatever." And they're like. In the meantime, there's like this video playing on a TV in the room, and it's just like the absolute shittiest trailer for a movie I've ever seen. Like, I'm just like marveling at how dumb and bad this movie looks. And I don't know why, even though I thought that, why this would have come out of my mouth, but I was just like thinking like, this looks like some really bad direct-to-video bullshit movie. And that's what I'm thinking. And then the person says like, "Oh, I see you're watching the trailer for Walt's new movie," and I was like, "Oh, is it like a real movie, like it's going to theaters and stuff?" Like, that's what I said. And the person was just like taken aback, like so hard, just like, "Did you just fucking make fun of this?" I didn't think that I honestly was like, it has to be a direct-to-video bullshit movie. Like, this cannot be a real thing. And then they were like, "Yeah, it's a big movie. Like, it's a big movie." And it's the movie Wild Hogs, if you've ever heard of this movie, with John Travolta.
I can't say that I have.
It's a really, really bad, hilariously shitty movie. And I don't regret this at all, because if that's the kind of quality entertainment that I would have been working with, hey, maybe I didn't want that job anyway.
Well, it's like, it's wild that like you were blacklisted for saying a movie sucked that ultimately a lot of people said sucks.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, you were right.
I have no recollection of anything that happened after that. I don't
like they knocked you out.
Right. I think as soon as I said that, I knew like, oh, well, this is over. Like, this is that was the wrong thing to say. I met the guy, and I'm sure he was nice, and I'm sure we watched the trailer I made, and he was like, "Yeah, that was great," and then never ever talked to me ever again.
Question: Why the fuck did they send you?
Like, to do the thing. It was, I got hooked up from a friend of mine who was probably like the guy's PA or something, and was like, "Oh, I know a guy who's great at making fake trailers for Will Ferrell movies."
Yeah, but why are you the guy who was sent to pitch the movie? I mean, like, to watch the trailer with this dude.
Oh, I don't know. I don't
like, that seems like the absolute worst thing you could do. And not to say that you were bad, but I'm just saying, like, isn't somebody else responsible for the intellectual property of this movie?
But I don't know. It doesn't seem like it was the best idea to begin with, but I certainly didn't do it any favors.
But somebody had that idea. Where is that guy?
But I think that guy was like, "Oh, this is going to be like right place, right time for this kid. Mike Streeter is going to get to watch this new movie we're putting out." And then Mike was like, "This is horseshit," and then and it just spiraled from there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to blame this a little bit on bad leadership as well.
Yeah. Anyway, I never worked in Hollywood again, so that was
yeah.
I don't know that I don't know that it has anything to do with that, but I blame it on that. Yeah.
It is. I mean, there is a direct line from you saying Wild Hogs sucks to never working in Hollywood. But you know what?
Everybody knows Wild Hogs is very good.
Of course.
For the listeners.
It's classic.
God damn. Well, Mike, we always ask 3 questions to round out the pod to make sure we covered everything.
Okay.
First one on the worst job. I'm pretty sure we have a clear answer, but on the target job, when were you done and how did you quit? We know kind of like why you quit, because you're like, well, this isn't working. But how did you come to realize none of this is going to work and I got to get the fuck out of here? And then how did you specifically quit?
I don't know that either of these are going to be that interesting. I think like just from day one, I was like, this is like from like maybe even from the interview of being like, do I want to work here? And I was like immediately like, no.
Well, you can smell it in an interview when like this happens in the corporate speak when you're talking to someone at Target or whatever. Like you can tell when like they're not talking to you. You know, like their eyes have something sort of dead in them, and they're very much like talking. Yeah, just like talking past you. You know, and you're like, okay.
I actually had sort of like the opposite, which is even scarier, where I had somebody who was very enthusiastic about working at Target. Who was just like, we are so excited to have you as part of the team. Her name was Dakota, and she was like the fakest, worst person ever.
Okay,
I fucking hate Dakota.
One of those two. It's like I'm dead, but I'm trying to be living, or I'm super duper living, and no one will ever find out that I'm dead.
But ultimately, I will drive off a cliff. Yeah.
Well, it was almost like I derived pleasure from making everybody else's lives awful. Like she would always be walking around smiling like she was having the best day while like, you know, being like, oh, come on, smile, you know, like that kind of person. And it was just like,
like she calls you grumpy, like, someone's grumpy today. Like,
is that kind of thing. But then was also really mean, you know, it was like, like, oh, can I get Friday off? I'm like, absolutely not. You have to be here. But have a great Friday, you know, is that kind of thing.
Shit. Yeah, like she does enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
I love those kind of people. Like that's the kind of person who, you know, like on Monday, she comes in and she's like, how was your weekend? You're like, I was literally here.
Right.
All weekend. It's just that you weren't here all weekend. Like you had Sunday off or something.
Right. Yeah. And how I quit, I honestly don't remember. I think I just walked in and was like, I mean, it definitely wasn't like a storm off, cool, like, fuck this place, I'm out of here. You know, unfortunately, because the name of your podcast.
Indeed.
But I think I was just like, hey, I'm moving back to California, so it's going to be a tough commute.
Bye.
So see ya.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't think I even told anybody. I think like on my last day, I think I told somebody, I was like, hey, I'm not going to be here
really
anymore.
It seemed like you even knew anybody who worked there. Okay, well, question number 2 is what's one good thing you took from that very bad job?
I mean, other than like never work at Target again, you know, you do gain, and I worked in lots of customer service, and this is true of all of them, but like you do gain an appreciation for the job. And like when you go to Target and you see the people miserable, you're not like, God, why are these people like, you know, so sad, or like, why, like, geez, can you kind of like speed it up or whatever? It's just like, I always just give them a break because I'm like, this is no fun. Like this is
such a fucking grind.
Yeah.
The worst kind. I mean, really. Worst in my opinion than like waiting tables, because at least with waiting tables theoretically you can be getting tips from somewhere, or,
right?
Yeah, you know, and like it's just there's no incentive. It's just a pile of work that never ever fucking leaves.
Yeah, and with waiting tables, at least there's occasionally you get to throw some of your personality in there with like some of your customers. Whereas like if you're a cashier, like I said, you're just that machine. You're just that weird nothing machine, and it just whittles you down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No fun.
Yeesh. Okay. Question number 3, not at all related to that awful job. You know, since the pandemic has started, a lot of people's dreams have been put on hold in some form or another. What is your current relationship to those dreams? Are they on hold? Are you scheming any, or is everything kind of, I know you said you were kind of working again. How's all that going?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had to stop working because of the pandemic, so it's kind of weird. Like, my current job, like we've stayed open the entire time. I work in post-production, and so like all that can still be done, and we've been kind of like helping other people figure out how to work from home over the internet, doing all the same stuff that they do normally day to day. All the editors and all the post-production people, like just how you can keep doing your job,
right?
So you know that's been cool and good that I get to keep having a paycheck even though most people aren't. So I'm very appreciative of that.
Yep.
as far as like my dreams and like what I would actually like to be doing, it's, you know, making movies and I can still do that. It's definitely affected the industry, where it's a lot more difficult. You can't have as many people. You can't have, you know, everybody's got to be wearing masks except for the actors, and you have to be very cautious about, you know, every little thing. But it's still possible to do, and we're getting closer to making that, you know, being back to
more feasible.
somewhat more normal. So yeah, I wish that I had spent what little downtime I had being more productive with like my own personal projects and stuff like that, but I wasn't, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope to keep making movies, and I don't think that it should stop it. So I'm gonna keep that dream alive.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah, dude.
And podcasting, which I also love to do.
I was going to say, where can people find you on the internet and the airwaves?
So yeah, I have a podcast that Nick mentioned it at the top. It's called Bad Reception, Making the Best of Bad TV. You can go to badreceptionpod.com, or just like literally wherever you listen to podcasts, just search Bad Reception. We're up there. We haven't put out a new episode in 7 months.
No biggie.
Which is, I mean, we had been doing it for like 2.5 years nonstop. And when the pandemic hit, we kind of just said, like, let's just take a break. Let's take a step back. But we are coming back. Anybody who used to listen, if you, you know, are worried that it's over, it's not. And anybody who's thinking about starting, we should be back in the next couple of weeks. You know, and I don't know when this is airing, but soon. Yeah. And then for my film stuff, Darkhour Films, DARKHOUR films.com, or just search Darkhour Films on YouTube. You'll find my stuff. I do horror movies mostly, and all shorts. So far, I've never made a feature yet, but in the works as well.
And we'll make sure to put all those links in the show notes as well. So if you're looking for those things, wherever you are, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can find us on YouTube, by the way. Just search FCK Displays. Or if you're on a podcast, just click details, and all those links will be in the show notes to this episode. You don't have to look for it that hard. Just click away. Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me on. I love your show. I listen to it all the time. So it's fun to be a part of it.
So glad to hear that.
Awesome.
And fuck this place.
Yeah, fuck this place.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
If you like the show and you want other people to be able to find the show and also like it, all you got to do is leave a review. Tell us what you think of the show. Is Mike's golden voice just too goddamn much for you? I want to hear it. You can also text the podcast 470-223-5627. That's 470-223-5627. Operators are standing by. And by operators, I mean me. Bye for now.